Story 1. Free Massage. Submitted by Yarnball. I live in a small apartment on the 3rd floor. It's cozy, and I've always felt safe there. I've got this cat, Whiskers, who's been my sidekick for the past 3 years. Whiskers has this weird habit of netting my back with her paws when I'm lying down. It's like she's giving me a massage, and honestly, it's pretty soothing. One evening, after a particularly tiring day at work, I decided to take a nap on my couch. The TV was on, casting a dim light across the room. I remember feeling Whiskers jump onto the couch, her soft paws pressing into my back. I smiled to myself, thinking, here comes my free massage. I was half asleep, drifting in and out of consciousness, when I felt the pressure of her paws intensify. It was like she was using more force than usual, but I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was just being extra affectionate. After a few minutes, the netting became more aggressive. It felt like human hands pressing into my back, fingers digging into my skin. I tried to move, but suddenly I was paralyzed with fear. My heart raced, and my mind was screaming at me to turn around and see what was happening. But I couldn't. I was frozen. Then, I heard a familiar sound, the soft jingle of Whiskers' collar. I turned my head slightly, and through the dim light of the TV, I saw her squeezing through the window, coming inside from the fire escape. My heart stopped. If Whiskers was just now coming in, then who or what was massaging my back? I mustered up the courage to turn around, and as I did, the pressure on my back ceased. There was nothing there. No one. Just an empty space on the couch beside me. I jumped up, frantically searching the room, but found nothing out of place. The window was still slightly open, and Whiskers was now sitting on the floor, looking up at me with her big, innocent eyes. I'm not sure what happened that night. I've tried to rationalize it, thinking maybe I was dreaming or hallucinating. But deep down, I know what I felt. Those weren't Whiskers' paws on my back. And to this day, I can't shake off the feeling that something or someone was in my apartment with me. I've since moved to a new place, and Whiskers still gives me her little massages. But every time she does, I can't help but glance over my shoulder, just to make sure she's really the one doing it. Story 2. The Chuckle in the Room. Submitted by I'll Never Go Away. So, I've got this story that still gives me chills. I've only told it to a few close friends, but I think it's time to share it. Lisa and I shared an apartment in the city. It was one of those modern ones with all the techie stuff, including a smart TV that we both loved. We had it set up with this calming wallpaper of a serene beach, which would automatically come on if the TV was idle for too long. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, I walked into our apartment. The TV was on, displaying that familiar beach wallpaper. I figured Lisa was home, but maybe in the bathroom or on a call in her room. The dim glow from the TV and the soft hum of the city outside created a cozy ambience. Feeling chatty, I started recounting this hilarious incident from work, laughing at my own story, and then, from the direction of the sofa, I heard it. A very subtle chuckle. It wasn't loud, but it was distinct. I smiled, thinking Lisa was enjoying my story from her comfy spot on the couch. I continued embellishing the tale a bit more for effect, waiting for another reaction. but it was silent. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. Pulling it out, I saw Lisa's name on the screen. Confused, I answered, "Hey, did you like my story? Why are you hiding there?" There was a pause. Lisa's voice, tinged with confusion, replied, "What are you talking about? I'm still at work. Got caught up with some stuff. I'll be home in about 30 minutes. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. If Lisa was at work, then who had chuckled? Trying not to panic, I said, "Oh, okay, see you soon," and hung up. I slowly approached the living room. The sofa was empty. I checked every room, every possible hiding spot, but found no one. The windows and doors were locked from the inside. I called the building security, and they did a thorough check but found nothing amiss. Lisa came home, and I recounted the whole thing to her. We were both freaked out. We never figured out the source of that chuckle. Maybe it was my imagination. Or maybe, just maybe, we weren't alone in the apartment that evening. Either way, it's a memory that raises the hair on the back of my neck. About a month later, we decided we needed a fresh start. We began hunting for a new place, and soon enough, we found a cozy apartment a few blocks away. It was a bit smaller, but it felt right. The day we moved, we both let out a sigh of relief. The new place had a different energy, more welcoming and warm. We felt safer, and slowly, the memory of that eerie chuckle began to fade. But even now, in our new home, we sometimes find ourselves glancing at the TV, half expecting it to hold some clue to that mysterious evening. Story 3, Watch and Chill, submitted by Fourth Dime. I was living in this old apartment complex at the time with my friend, Sally. It wasn't the fanciest place, but it was home. The walls were thin, the floorboards creaked, and the windows were drafty. But it was affordable, and we made it cozy. One evening, after a long day at work, I decided to chill on the couch and watch a movie. Sally had texted me earlier saying she'd be home late because of some project at her job, so I wasn't expecting her for a while. I dimmed the lights, grabbed a blanket, and started watching some psychological thriller. You know, the kind that keeps you on the edge of your seat. About halfway through the movie, I felt a presence behind me. You know that feeling when someone's watching you? I assumed Sally had come home early and was standing there behind the couch, probably deciding whether or not to join me. I even felt what seemed like a breath on the back of my neck. I remember thinking, "Geez, Sally, just sit down already." I was so engrossed in the movie that I didn't bother turning around. Plus, I felt comforted knowing she was there. We often watched movies like this, sometimes with her just standing behind me, commenting on the scenes, so it wasn't out of the ordinary. Then, there was a knock on the door. I jumped, not expecting anyone. I paused the movie and called out, "Who is it?" thinking maybe it was a neighbor or something. "It's me, Sally. Forgot my keys. Open up." I froze, my mind racing. If Sally was outside, then who the hell was standing behind me? I felt a cold chill run down my spine. Slowly, I turned around, but there was no one there. The room was empty. I bolted to the door, flung it open, and there stood Sally, looking puzzled. "You okay?" she asked, noticing my pale face. I just nodded, pulling her inside and locked the door behind us. I told her what had happened, and we searched the entire apartment. Every room, every closet, even under the beds. Nothing. No sign of anyone. We called the police, and they did a sweep too, but found no evidence of a break-in. They suggested maybe I had just imagined it, or perhaps it was a draft from one of the old windows. But I know what I felt. It wasn't a draft. Someone or something was standing right behind me that night. Sally and I decided we couldn't stay in that apartment anymore, so we moved. To this day, I still wonder who or what was with me that night. And every time I watch a movie alone, I'm always a little on edge, searching with the corner of my eye, hoping I am truly alone. So, yeah, that's my story. It might not be the scariest thing you've ever heard, but when you feel someone's presence and then find out they weren't there, it's something you never forget.